Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening to the listening public, the people here, of course, on the island of Nevis, those on our sister island of St. Christopher. Good evening to those scattered throughout the Caribbean Sea. Good evening to all of our friends and family in Canada, the United States of America, and those across the pond in the United Kingdom. Wherever you are in our region, good evening to you. I know tonight we have friends listening all across the Caribbean. Let me welcome those listeners in the Windward Islands, places like Grenada, Spice Island, and also, of course, those in St. Vincent, St. Lucia, and Dominica. Let me also welcome those closer to us, those in Saba and Statia who listen frequently, those in Sunshine City, St. Martin, those, of course, in Anguilla and Montserrat, but also those in the British Virgin Islands and U.S. Virgin Islands. Good evening to all of you. My name is Mark Brantley, and I'm welcoming you to the first show of On The Mark for the year 2022. It was an interesting year, 2021, fraught with difficulty caused by the coronavirus and this pandemic that has had the world in its grip now for nigh 2 years. In fact, in another 2 months, we would have been 2 years to the day since we had the first cases of COVID popping up in St. Kitts and Nevis. Since the first case would have popped up in March of 2020, we now see that as of yesterday, the last numbers I have, we have had some 4,484 cases. 4,484 cases here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Of those, 3,838 on St. Kitts and 646 on Nevis. Those are the numbers as we have them as of yesterday. And of course, vaccination, which we continue and our experts continue to tell us is the best defense against this virus. Our vaccination levels now are at 81.7% for the first dose and 76.1% for the second dose. St. Kitts and Nevis collectively has the best vaccination rate in the English-speaking Caribbean, and I think we ought to commend our healthcare professionals for that. I continue to urge our people to go out and get vaccinated because that has proven to be the best defense. This Omicron variant is quite contagious, but I think the data suggests that when you're vaccinated and you do get Omicron or you do get Corona, then you are least or less likely to get serious symptoms and you're less likely to be hospitalized and definitely less likely to die. I believe that the numbers notwithstanding, as we go through this fourth wave that we find ourselves in, that those numbers notwithstanding, it is a matter of some joy for us in administration and for the island and for the country that we have seen no corresponding increase in hospitalizations. And that suggests that this virus is working its way through and that our people, through vaccination, are developing some sense of resistance, if you will, to this virus, to the point where certainly this variant is not having the impact on our health. And many people who have had it have commented that it is as if one would have a common cold. This, of course, doesn't mean that one ought to relax, particularly if you're unvaccinated. The data suggests that you are still in some danger, and therefore we urge everyone to go out and take advantage. The Nevis Island Administration, through its Health Promotion Unit and its health authorities, we have been working very hard. In fact, we have currently, I'm advised, a promotion that we have engaged in, which is targeting really our young people, those 12 and over, and we are engaging them in a system where those who refer individuals to be vaccinated and those who are vaccinated themselves can win some very good prizes. I think I saw something where an iPhone 13 is on offer. We have large screen LED televisions, we have AirPods, we have some very sophisticated gifts, and we would urge our youngsters in particular, if you want an iPhone 13, great opportunity for you to go and get one very expensive device. If you want AirPods, if you want that 40-inch, I think, LED, I see also some video game consoles, etc. And the idea really is to make it exciting and to let our young people know that we're trying to take care of them, but also, of course, to incentivize them to go out and get their friends and all go and get vaccinated. It's very important that we get our numbers up, especially here on the island of Nevis, and we urge you to go out and to do that. Now, let me, for the first show of the year, of the new year, thank the multitude and when I say the multitude, I use that language because I think it is appropriate language, who reached out to me and offered congratulations and well wishes yesterday on my birthday. I want to thank everyone. I was overwhelmed by the outpouring on radio, right here on Vaughan Radio, and other radio stations as well, but also the number of people who called, who text, who sent WhatsApp messages, who greeted me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. It was wall-to-wall greetings, and I really appreciate it. I thank all who took the time, because if you take the time to say happy birthday to me, it means that it occurred to you. It means that you took that minute or two and you thought of me, and I appreciate it very much. And so I want to thank everyone. I had a quiet day spent with family, but I had a beautiful day, and I want to thank you all for the outpouring of love and the outpouring of well wishes that I received yesterday. It was truly, truly heartwarming and humbling to receive so many messages from so many people all across the world who reached out to say happy birthday. Thank you. I believe those greetings were the greatest gift of all, and I want to thank each and every one of you. I also want, since I'm in that mode, to extend warm birthday greetings to my aunt Ornette Berry, better known to us as Auntie Beatty. She is celebrating this week her birthday, and I hope she's listening right in the United States, and I want to send birthday greetings to your auntie. I pray and hope that you have a wonderful birthday when it comes. I know the family is gathering, and I believe that you're in for some surprises, I'm told, from various family members, and I'm hopeful that you have a wonderful birthday. You are such a wonderful person. We love you, and we hope and pray that God continues to bless and keep you and grant you many, many more birthdays as you enjoy your time with your children and grandchildren and close family members. We wish you only the best. So happy birthday, Auntie Beatty, and we wish you continued good health, continued success, continued best wishes for you as you age so beautifully and so gracefully. We thank you, and we thank God for the opportunity that you're here and continue to be here, and we pray that that continues to be so. So enjoy it when it comes. I'm not going to be on radio when it comes, and so I'm using this opportunity now to wish you a happy birthday. For others who are celebrating, happy birthday to you when it comes. For those who are celebrating anniversaries, happy anniversary to you when it comes. And of course, in the midst of all celebrations, there's always some tragedy and some sadness. And so for those who happen to be ill, or for those who are grieving in some way, maybe those who have lost a loved one, please accept our condolences as well. For those out there who are suffering from COVID, a large number of people have come down with COVID. Some have had flu-like symptoms, and when tested, they've realized it isn't COVID, so there is still a flu out there as well. But if you are under the weather now, please stay indoors, get well, use lots of vitamin C, lots of zinc, and just get some rest. At the end of the day, your body will work this out, particularly if you're vaccinated against COVID. It is something that I think disappears in a few days. And so I urge you to stay indoors, stay calm, and we are praying for your safe and speedy recovery. Ladies and gentlemen, we are hopeful that this year we will have a better year than we've had in the last 2 years. We've had a difficult 2-year period. Why? Because, of course, the world has been negatively impacted by COVID-19. There are some who seek to argue that we shouldn't pay any attention, that the 2 years have made no difference. And we hear the arguments being postulated that somehow those 2 years ought to be ignored. I have said publicly that, in my humble opinion, when taking on this role as Premier in 2017, December of 2017, we did not anticipate that we would be in the throes of a global pandemic for 2 years. 2018 was our first year, my first year as Premier, 2019 my second, and by March of 2020 we were struck by COVID, and for the first time in our modern history, our borders closed. Now I want you to contemplate that for an economy that is almost exclusively based on tourism, to close your borders means that by its very nature, tourists cannot come. Hotels closed, restaurants closed. If there are no tourists, then obviously there's less need for those and as a consequence, persons lost their jobs. That is the reality. And no matter how some people try to frame it and pretend as if it didn't happen, it had no impact, that is the reality. And I hear a lot of people postulate, a lot of people argue. They make a lot of noise and sound and fury, and they say, oh, it could have been done better, but they cannot explain what they would have done better. None of us have been perfect in this attempt to deal with this issue of COVID-19. Why? Because none of us had any knowledge of COVID-19. None of us had ever confronted a global pandemic on this scale. Indeed, the last global pandemic, the influenza pandemic, was over 100 years ago. And no leader anywhere in the world was in any position 100 years ago where he or she can now say, yes, with all that experience, I can now lead my people through this pandemic. There was no textbook, no manual on a shelf at Barnes & Noble that we could go and pick up. There was nothing at the library that we could go and say, this is the guidebook. And so mistakes were made, to be sure. But on balance, I think that we have done far better than most. On balance, I think as a small island, we have managed the situation effectively. I have remarked and continue to remark that it is a remarkable thing that for 2 years with our major economic engines shut down or operating at less than 10% of their capacity, that we still were able to pay all of our public servants on time and in full. We were able to pay all of our pensioners on time and in full. We were able to pay all of our statutory corporation workers, NEVLEC, NHLDC, Solid Waste, NTA, on time and in full. We laid off not one individual during this pandemic. Now, we could have opted for a different approach. We could have said, listen, there's no revenue and therefore some people have to go home. We did not do that. We tried our very best in difficult circumstances to keep the lights on, to keep our people working. And yes, those in the private sector would have been laid off, but we did not forget them either. Working with the federal government and Social Security, we would have offered income substitution for those people for some period of time. We offered widespread incentives, concessions and stimulus for various sectors. We offered small loans for young people, especially, and women to get involved in their own small businesses. In fact, so successful as our efforts been that I am advised that now that the hotels and restaurants have reopened, now that visitors are coming back to our shores, many of those people involved in that sector are being called back by their former employers, and those people are saying to their former employers, I regret that I'm unavailable because I've now started my own little business. I regret that I'm unavailable because I found something else to do. And so while the government itself has not been able to absorb too many new people, we are satisfied that jobs once again are on the rise. It is an interesting thing yesterday morning that my wife decided that she would treat me to breakfast, it being my birthday. Not breakfast at home, but breakfast at a particular establishment. And we had a lovely breakfast at one of our finest restaurants. I noted the young people who were there working on that morning. And then, that evening, my wife again decided that she would treat me for dinner. Yes, I know you're going to say I love to eat, but such is life. So she said she would treat me for dinner, and we went to a different establishment. Equally beautiful restaurant with a beautiful setting on the beach. And when I saw this particular youngster, I remarked to him, did I not see you at that other place this morning? And he said, yes, I work there in the mornings and I work here at nights. And I actually said to him, continue to push. I like when I see that. Young people making hay while the sun shines. Striking the iron while it is hot. Because even the good book reminds us that there will be times of plenty and there will be times of famine. And it is up to each and every one of us in the times of plenty to store up our grain, so that when times of famine come, we can, as Egypt of old, be able to buffet it through, be able to stay afloat during those difficult times. And I tip my hat to that youngster. He knows who he is. I tip my hat to others like him, who are seeing now the return of various job opportunities and are seizing them with both hands. Too many of our people are sitting back. Nothing now go on for me. Me can't find nothing to do. Things not good for me. And I'm saying to you, please, put yourself in a position. Go out and knock on the door and keep knocking on the doors. Go out, because we have seen quite a few businesses open their doors even in this pandemic. I remarked to someone the other day that despite all the naysayers, we have had the opening of Luna, a brand new restaurant, during this pandemic. We have had the opening of Nevitalia, a brand new restaurant, during this pandemic. We've had the opening of something called Barefoot Beach Bar, I think it is called. I may have had the name wrong, but it is in the Nelson Spring condominium development on the beach. Beautiful place, and a brand new sushi restaurant for those who like sushi. We've had the reopening of the famous Bananas restaurant. And we have now restaurants under construction next to the Anglican Church in Charlestown. Restaurants under construction at the waterfront by the main pier in Charlestown. And we have this ongoing expansion of business opportunities on the island. Some may say these are small businesses, and they are right to say so. But as the old people say, one fill basket. And every small business that employs 8 or 10 or 12 or 15 individuals adds value to the island and to our employment numbers. I urge our people to grab the opportunities, not only to be a waiter or waitress or a dishwasher, but also to be chefs, sous chefs, to be accountants and managers, to occupy the positions that arise and make themselves available in our island. Government will continue to do its best. And for some, the best will never be good enough, and that is okay. I remind people that the only perfect human being sent from heaven in earthly form, Jesus Christ himself, was criticized and ultimately crucified. And so if they could kill Jesus, then who am I and who are we? So criticisms will come, and we understand that they will come. We welcome criticism because in a democratic society, criticism is not only important, it is essential. It is through criticism, particularly constructive criticism, that we do better, that we learn and we move on. And this pandemic has taught us the value of listening, because none of us had the answers. And as we did one thing and it didn't quite work and we tried to do something else, we over time got it better. And we have found ourselves from a place where the country was entirely shut down, all of our borders closed, to a place now where we no longer have a quarantine in place for persons coming in. And once they enter with a PCR test within 72 hours and they're fully vaccinated, they're free to go about their business. That is a remarkable 180-degree turn from where we were not so long ago, when persons coming in had to do 14 days in quarantine. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are recovering. I have coined the phrase regain the momentum. Why regain? Because we have lost momentum. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that that is not so. Every country in the world has lost momentum. Even as we now battle with this Omicron, we see in major economies and major countries in the world. Just yesterday I saw a report where they're saying restaurants in the United States are closing down. Why? Because Omicron has scared patrons away. So people are not going to restaurants like before. In fact, They have reported across the United States some 28% decline in restaurant business and restaurant bookings. One particular restaurant in New York, the owners say they don't think that they can last beyond January, and if they do, unless things turn around, they cannot go beyond March. So businesses are suffering even in the greatest economy the world has known, the United States and elsewhere. And yet there are some who, when they speak, say to our people, ignore all that is happening all across the rest of the world. If you're not working at this moment, blame Mark Brantley and the CCM because they have not done enough. Ignore economies which have trillions. You see the word I use? Trillions with a T, Trillions with a T. Ignore those that have trillions of dollars available to them. Because it is okay for businesses there to close down, and it's okay for jobs there to be lost because of COVID. But in Nevis, it is that the government is not doing enough. It is unreasonable. It is a position which doesn't pass the giggle test. And this sometimes is what passes for political debate and discussion in the country. And I have said, because those who know me know that I am very forthright in what I seek to do and say. And I have said that I do not have all the answers. None of us do. And that if the opposition or those aligned with the opposition in Nevis have something of substance to offer, then come on board. Come on board. You don't want to sit and talk to me because somehow in this country we have lost the ability to sit and talk to each other. That's okay. Go on the radio station, go in the newspaper, go on social media, and set out what you think ought to be done. And if there's merit there, of course, we will look at it. Because we are a government that seeks to put our people first and foremost in all that we do. I have not been shy about reaching out to the opposition. I have seen leadership elsewhere around the world that seeks to deny the opposition a place, that seeks not to engage with them at all. That has not been my way here on the island of Nevis. I have convened meetings with the leader of the main opposition party in Nevis, the NRP. I have convened meetings with the lone parliamentary representative from the NRP. And those meetings, in my view, have been constructive. I have said bluntly to them in those meetings that I want them to hold hands with the government, to partner with the government, not for me, nor indeed for them, because their success or failure at the polls will not depend on me, and mine certainly will not depend on them. But since we say that we are servants of the people, since we say that we are here not for personal and self-aggrandizement, but for the benefit of the people, then when the people are confronted with a crisis like COVID, when this enemy is at the gates, threatening to overwhelm our country, threatening to overwhelm this beloved island of ours, this 36 square miles that God has blessed us with, then it behooves every man, woman, and child to hold hands and confront that enemy together. You know why? Because if the enemy gets away and rampages through the island of Nevis, there will be no Nevis for CCM and no Nevis for NRP. Some in the opposition seem to be of a view that they need do nothing. They need not lift a finger. That is the government problem. So when COVID comes and knocks on your door, you think COVID is going to ask, is NRP people living here? Huh? Is NRP people in this room, in this house? Because if it's NRP, if this house green, we're going to pass on to the next house. No, COVID isn't asking any questions about politics. And so there is tremendous merit if we say, and if indeed we are serious about serving people, to get together and get behind the science and the leadership that our doctors and technical experts have provided, and confront this monster together. I have remarked time and time again that I met with the leader of the NRP and the sole parliamentary representative of the NRP jointly. And we met for nigh 2 hours. And the main topic of conversation was, could they come on board on the vaccination effort to encourage supporters of their party to get vaccinated, so that the issue of vaccination, which has been demonstrated to be the best weapon that we have against COVID, that issue is not politicized. They said they would consider it. I wrote and followed up with them about their consideration. And they eventually wrote back and said, go along about your business. We're not partnering with you and with the government. We are not going to engage with that. We are not going to go out with any campaign with you to encourage anybody to get vaccinated. You're on your own. And I have kept that letter. You know why? Because it is the most egregious example that I have seen of putting politics ahead of people. It is almost as if in some recesses of the mind of those who make up the opposition, that they feel that if COVID rampages through Nevis, enough people are in hospitals so Alexandria is overrun, enough people lose their jobs because businesses have to close down, enough people die from COVID, that they can say, aha, Mark Brantley and the CCM are failures. They have not managed this pandemic properly. But I say, woe be unto us if that were to happen. Because the business that closes might be your own. The person hospitalized might be your family or yourself. And God forbid, the person that dies from COVID might be someone near and dear to you. Because COVID now pick out. And so sometimes we must look beyond the narrow political strategy, if that can be considered strategy, and look instead at why we say we are in politics, which is to serve people. And if I am saying that I'm a servant of the people and I see a man down on Charlestown Pier say he gonna jump over, I am not going to say that man, well, that is up to you. You can jump or you can choose not to jump. You can drown or you don't drown. That's up to you. That's your choice. No. As a servant of the people, I said to this man, I love you. I do not wish you to jump over the pier, because if you do, you have a high risk and a high probability that you will die. And if I love you, I should warn you against that course of action. Indeed, I should do everything in my power to dissuade you from taking that particular route. Now, that analogy, some may say, is not a precise analogy, but it works for purposes of this conversation. Because COVID is a killer. I said it early in the pandemic and I was chastised. Oh, don't use language like that. Well, it has now killed 28 persons here in the Federation, including 5 in Nevis. And so if we all accept that COVID is a killer, and we all accept that COVID is at the gate, at the window, at the door, peeping in, trying to get into our homes, you think it come for coffee? You think COVID coming to play dominoes? COVID is coming to kill, to hospitalize, to shut down businesses, to cost lives and livelihoods. Well, if we accept that, why would a party that says it is in this to serve people not go out and encourage those people to take every precaution? To say that the science is irrefutable. Yes, there are all these naysayers and vaccine anti-vaxers and vaccine deniers, but I say that the science is irrefutable. 5 deaths in Nevis, all of them unvaccinated. Not one of them was vaccinated. What does that tell you? 100% of the deaths in Nevis are people who are unvaccinated. The data is clear all across the world that the unvaccinated are the ones who suffer most at the hands of COVID. So what is stopping people who say that they have come to serve others from standing up together and saying, listen, we have looked at this, and on balance, we recognize that these are the tools that we have. We may not like the weapons that we have available to us. We may not like to wear masks. We may not like to have the frequent washing of hands. We may not like the social and physical distancing. We don't like the quarantine and the lockdowns. We don't like the curfews. And we may even not like the vaccination. I will be the first to confess, I afraid needle like a monkey afraid gun. But these are the tools that the experts have said are available to us. So why can't we hold hands as patriots and as people who say we have come to serve and we love this island, and say to our people in one voice, this is what we must do. That was the idea that I had. And I didn't come on radio to talk about it. I went and met with the opposition on it, invited them to my office, engaged with them. And to this day, every time I get an update, I share it with the opposition. Because that was one of the points raised in that meeting. They said they wanted more information. And whenever the task force in Nevis sends me an update, I forward it immediately to the members of my cabinet and to the member of parliament for the opposition. Partnership. I have looked across the Caribbean. In Jamaica, I saw the Minister of Health there, Tufton, touting the vaccine. And I see the spokesperson on health for the opposition and Tufton, joint press conference, both of them singing the same Sankey. Same pew, same church, same hymn. Same line, same verse, same stanza. And they even singing in the same key. I look at Anguilla. I see the leader of the opposition in Anguilla, Cora Richardson Hodge, taking her vaccine, her shot, with the members of the government, sending a clear message, we are together in this fight. There's no room for politics in the fight against COVID. We go to St. Lucia. The now Prime Minister, when he was leader of the opposition, led his entire team on camera into the clinic so that all of them can be vaccinated. And he spoke out in support of the government's vaccination effort while he was leader of the opposition. He's now Prime Minister because he recognized, Philip Pear, that even if he became Prime Minister, COVID isn't saying, well, if you become Prime Minister, we're going to flee St. Lucia. COVID will flee St. Lucia. We're only here because of Chastanet. No. He recognized that if I took over tomorrow from Chastanet, I still have to deal with COVID. And since the science suggests that these are the weapons available to me to fight COVID, let me embrace them, including the vaccine. And Philip Pear did that. He's now the Prime Minister. We look at Trinidad and Kamla Bissessar, leader of the opposition. The opposition party in Trinidad arranged buses to go around the country and pick up people to take them to get vaccinated. You hear what I say? The opposition party in Trinidad, not the government. They too have said, we are in favor of the vaccination effort. Even Donald Trump, former President of the United States, has recently come out encouraging Americans to go and get their booster. I say all that to say that it is quite clear that around the world, people who are truly committed to the service of others, who are committed to the preservation of our societies and our people, who want to save lives and livelihoods, that they are not shy about coming out openly, clearly, and saying we are encouraging our people to go out and to get vaccinated, to do all the other things as well, to wear the mask and social distance and wash hands, but also to get vaccinated. Nevis, on the other hand, we have an opposition here that is playing bo peep. An opposition that refuses. And I challenge any call out there to call in tonight and tell me where any member in any leadership position in the NRP, with all the talk shows and all the programs, has come with a very clear statement to the public and said to them that we in the Nevis Reformation Party encourage you to go out and get vaccinated. Even Donald Trump has done better than the NRP. You hear what I tell you? Because Trump now is begging people to go and get their booster shot. So even Trump has done better than the NRP. And I hear some of them saying, oh, privately they're doing all that they can. Privately? Politics is private? Your family life is private. Politics is a public business. It's about the public. So how is it you can privately? Some of them have gone and taken the shot themselves, but refuse to encourage other people to do so. So you see the value in protecting you and your family, but you don't see the value in encouraging Miss Mary and her 3 children to go and protect herself. No. But when the time comes for an election, you tell Miss Mary, me love you long time. Me love you and me love your 3 children. If I are dead from COVID, that is our business, but me love I still. If I get sick and I go hospital, that's our business. In fact, a CCM fault, me love I still. But I went and protected myself and my family. It is hypocrisy. And I look at that and I said, not one of them has even taken a vaccine on camera to say to the world, I am vaccinated. And I'm using myself as an example. When the vaccine was rolled out here on the island of Nevis, I had a family meeting. I said to my wife and children, listen, this is what I'm proposing that we do. Can't force you all, it is your decision. But I know that as the Premier of Nevis, I, Mark Anthony Graham Brantley, will be the first person to take that vaccine. Because when you are leading people, you must demonstrate in word and in deed that you're leading. And since we said this was part of the answer, I was going to go and use that weapon that the scientists and the technocrats tell me was available. And the entire cabinet went with me. And God bless her soul, my wife went with me. And then my daughters went, and it was no thing hidden. Because we wanted to demonstrate to the public that this is safe. We have confidence in it. We have confidence in the advice that we're getting from Dr. Judy Nisbet and from the CMO and from the entire team. And this is something that we feel is necessary to protect ourselves, but also to encourage others to protect themselves. And the NRP say, we're not telling nobody what to do. It's up to them. They could decide to do it, or they could decide not to do it. It's up to them. When we know that COVID is a killer, we know COVID has come to destroy lives and livelihoods, to overrun our health system. But we refuse because we're playing politics with an issue that is, by its nature, not a political issue. You know, I always recall when these terrorists bombed the World Trade Center 9/11, that the United States of America didn't hesitate to rally around their commander-in-chief. I believe it was George Bush Jr. who was the commander-in-chief. And America put aside the blue America and the red America. America put aside the Republican America and a democratic America. And America became one America because the homeland had been attacked by terrorists. My friends, I'm here to tell you tonight that COVID is no less dangerous than those terrorists that attacked 9/11. In fact, some may argue it is more dangerous because you can't see it. You can't smell it. And it comes like a thief in the night. Some people don't even have symptoms, but they can spread it. And so in any group setting that you are, you can't turn to your left or turn to your right and know who has COVID. Because some people might be right there sitting with you with COVID and they themselves don't know. So COVID is deadly. Deadly. And just as America came together to fight against that enemy, which was terrorism on 9/11, and as we have seen countries and nations rise when the challenge has been presented to them, challenges that threaten their very existence, World War I, World War II, so too this is the challenge of our time. And with this barbarian horde that is COVID at the gates, threatening to overrun our island, all we have asked for is for patriots to rise up, hold hands, and challenge that monster together. And in this, the NRP say that's the government business. We're not in that. It's for the government to solve the problem. We are not going to play any role. Because you see, it appears to me that some are hoping that things go horribly wrong. But the problem with this pandemic, and the problem with sickness and disease, is that we do not know for whom the bell will toll. And many of you are secretly vaccinating, while publicly saying that you're not encouraging anybody to do so. You are protecting yourself and your family, but publicly saying to Divisions, it's up to you. I'm not going to encourage you to do it. If you want to drink bush tea, and you think that drinking bush tea, lemongrass, and soursop is better for you, then go ahead and do that. But quietly and secretly, you go on in the back of the clinic and you get your jab. You see how the thing's set up? And I have been quiet about this, but I think that there comes a time in the life of every country and every people and every civilization when you are at the crossroads. And when you get to that position where you're at the crossroads, you really need people who are genuinely of goodwill, people who are genuinely committed to service of others to stand up. And if sacrifices have to be made, to make those sacrifices together. If our little island of Nevis and our country of St. Kitts and Nevis cannot come together to fight COVID, to fight what we all agree is an enemy that threatens us, then when are we going to come together again? So if Antigua or Barbados decide we're going to send our army to take over Nevis tomorrow, and I as the leader of Nevis say to the opposition, let us hold hands and fight to protect our homeland, are they going to say, that are your business? That's for the government to do. We're not encouraging none of our people to go out and fight. If Barbados and Antigua army come and they overrun us, well, we're going to say CCM failed. But you don't realize that when they overrun you, you become annexed. We become Antigua, Barbuda, and Nevis. We become Barbados and Nevis. You become annexed. What will you have that you can say you're going to run to govern? Nothing left. And that's the point. That is the point. That crises such as this threaten all of us. And it therefore requires an all-of-society approach and an all-of-society response. Private sector, public sector, church and state, but also the opposition. And I believe that this is a time when all of us must rise. We must put aside the pettiness that sometimes we engage in, because COVID isn't interested in any of that. COVID is interested in one thing and one thing only, and that is to kill you and kill me. And I believe we have to be very, very clear about that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is quarter to the hour. I'm not going to open the lines yet because I have one or two other things to say. This year looks like it might be an election year. Elections, my lawyers advise me, aren't due until March or so of next year, 2023. But I think many people expect an election this year. It may come next month. It may come in the next 6 months. It may come in the next 9 months. We may decide that we'll take it down to next year. A lot depends on the circumstances, of course, in the island. But the rhetoric has already started. My sources inside the NRP tell me that they met recently and they decided that they're launching their campaign, and therefore on their radio stations and programs, I anticipate you'll hear a heightened sense of criticism. Because let us not shy away from the reality that our politics is about criticism. It's not about ideas. What I mean by that is that those in opposition always say the government is doing a bad job. The government is not doing this, the government is not doing that, or if the government is doing it, it's not doing it well. Seldom, if ever, do you hear an alternative that is being offered. So, the criticisms are going to increase. And I had occasion recently to listen to some clips of, I don't even know what to call them, but I believe the only thing that comes to mind is the three blind mice. One who has earned the nickname Buster. Why? Because I gave him that name. I would take responsibility. I gave him that name, and until the day he dies, he will be known as Buster. Not because he's a dog. Let me make that clear. And there's no insinuation that he is. I will not seek to insult the gentleman in that way. But because he has certain Buster-like qualities. And who was Buster? Buster was a brown dog that I had when I was a boy. And Buster barked hard, was ferocious, was a vicious attack dog when he was tied. Let me say that again. My brown dog Buster that I had when I was a boy was a vicious, ferocious attack dog when he was tied. But the minute you let go Buster from the chain, Buster ran onto the floor. That said to me that Buster only got chat, Buster don't have no action. Buster got plenty word in him out. But when the time comes, don't look for Buster to be on any front line fighting any battle. I have looked at the Nevis Reformation Party, and they have sent the call out far and near for candidates. They have said, come rescue me. In fact, some of the people that they're offering as candidates are CCM people. Let me be clear, and all of us know it. Some of them currently on an NRP slate are CCM supporters, and I believe will vote for CCM come election day. Let us be very clear about it. So NRP has been searching so far and near that they've actually gone and put up some CCM candidates as their candidates. Some CCM supporters, forgive me, as their candidates. That's how desperate they are. And here you have a man, have an opinion on everything. He's the most ferocious attack dog. I use the term, of course, only by way of analogy. Attack, ferocious, vicious. knows the answer to everything. And when NRP said, well, my God, Buster, will you run? Let go your chain, Buster. Buster under the floor hiding. Them is what you call waste of time. Waste of time. Plenty fraud, no more be. That's them. So you're a Buster. Then you have another one. The school children now call him Houdini. And you may ask, who is Houdini? Houdini was a famous magician who made things disappear. And they say there was a time that this individual was involved, I'm told, at the Clarence Fitzroy Bryant College in St. Kitts. And a lot of things disappear. When you're in charge of an institution, I'm in charge of government. As the Premier of Nevis, the buck stops with me. And so if things disappear in government, what are you going to say? You must say, well, Mark come like he like Houdini, no? So he makes things disappear. If you put people in charge of little things and they can't manage it, how are they going to manage bigger things? Then you have some fella there, I can't remember his name, but some retiree from Hamilton. And these three individuals, three blind mice as I call them, decided that their best approach was to be on radio bashing a young woman, Latoya Jones, from Barnscott. What is Latoya Jones' sin? And I want us to consider these things. What is her sin? Born in Barnscott to a poor family. Just as I was born in Hanley's Road to a poor family. Just as the majority of us were born in villages all across the island, in hamlets, to poor families. Got an opportunity, went away, did whatever little study she did, came back. Has lived a life of contributing to the community. Was approached and engaged with this government as a special advisor on community matters. The very day that the announcement was made, the agents of destruction went out and started to attack this individual. Young woman, I'm not sure of her age, but I think she should be about 29 or thereabouts. Went out on the attack against this young woman. Oh, how much money she making? Oh, she have diplomatic passport, she have this, she have that. None of which was true. But it didn't matter. And then when I look at these three blind mice, all of them passed their sell-by date. Buster, who can run. Houdini, whose only success in life is making other people things disappear. And the older fella there, I can't remember his name. That three old misogynistic men are going to go on a rampage against a young woman in the name of a party, the NRP. This is the point I really want to get to, you know. In the name of a party, the NRP, that has said it is led by a woman and it wanted to field all female candidates. They finally put one man on the ticket because they couldn't find nobody else. And we know for that one man, NRP was not his first choice. NRP was his last resort. So, he was what you call when you go into the park to play cricket and you need 11. And you say, boy, me only got 10 man, you know. And you see a little boy on the side of pitch, you tell him, boy, come. You make up the team. So that is the NRP team. But they are led by a woman. And we had this big song and dance here in Nevis about woman power. Oh, we have come to empower women. We have come to show that women can lead. And I agree with all of that. Well, I ask the question rhetorically. Is LaToya Jones not a woman? They say we have come to empower young people. It's time for young people to have a chance, notwithstanding that most of them are already pensionable. 60 and over. Oh, young people, young people. Well, let me ask rhetorically, is LaToya Jones not a young person? I mean, what is the sin of this individual that you always spend your time attacking? But you know, the old people say it, and they say it most eloquently, that nobody stone empty mango tree. You see all the mango tree neighbors? At this time of year, we don't really have, many of them have mangoes on them. So you don't see the youngsters stoning them. Come August, when mango season is in full bloom, you see the youngsters stoning the tree because the trees are full of fruit. And it is a mistake that they keep making. Listen, I will use myself as an example, you know. Again, this is my first show. You all will forgive me. I'm talking long because I have some things to say. I will use myself as an example. When I entered politics in 2006, at the invitation of Vance Winkworth Amory, I was but a lowly opposition senator. Nobody voted for me. I never run in no political race. I was brand new to the thing. But the NRP decided I was going to be their target. And from the leader on down, they could not frame a sentence in this island without referencing Mark Brantley. And I hope the good Lord gives me strength that one day I will write a book, because I will credit my rise in politics to the Nevis Reformation Party. People may say, what stupidness you're saying. I will credit my rise. You know why? They're who made me a household name. They couldn't stop talking about me. They could not stop talking about me. One of their advisors and party members, my good friend, I won't call his name, he said to me that after we did the impossible and won the by-election in August of 2007, that NRP had a retreat. They wanted to know what they did wrong. And they hired some consultant, and the consultant said, you all did one thing wrong. You focused too much on this Mark Brantley. You focused too much. Everything Mark. And he said they took a decision on the advice of the consultant that over the course of the ensuing elections, they will focus less on an individual and focus more on the issues. And they were all agreed. So they then went out to whatever political meeting, the first one after that. I recall, I think he said he was in Brownhill. And the NRP speaker, he said, call my name 30-something times within the first 5 minutes. He said he strips him out and went home. Mark is a very easy name to call. And you all don't. It's like when you hear two young men trying to court the same lady. One goes to the lady and he says to her, oh, I'm an ambitious youngster, willing to work hard. I want to be able to provide for you and take care of you and have a family with you and settle down with you. That one is called Mark. The other one goes talking to the same young lady. I hear that boy Mark, I try to talk to you, study him, he's a bad fella. And every time he gets a chance to speak to the young lady, he says, Mark this, Mark that, Mark the other. The young lady started to say, boy, must be something about this Mark. Let me look into it further. And they're doing the same stupidness again. It's not that I'm giving them advice. I'm telling them that the politics is not going to get any better when you all spend your time and send failures, because some of them, their only success has been failure. Send them to attack decent people. Focus on the issues. Tell the people of St. Thomas's, the people of St. James, the people of Gingerland, the people of St. John's, the people of St. Paul's. What are you going to do for them to make their lives better? That is what you're supposed to do. Instead of that, you're up and down trying to insinuate and castigate and And then you say you're empowering women. How are you empowering women? You mean you're only going to empower some women? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying? Because for me, women are women. And you can't denigrate and attack women because you say they don't support your party, but say that you are the party for empowering women. That's not how it works. It's called hypocrisy. And I'm saying these things not because I am seeking to advise the NRP, because their stupidity is to my gain. But I think overall the society loses when we don't elevate what we're engaged in. Elevate the level of discourse and discussion. Offer ideas and capture our people. The imagination that they can dream beyond their circumstances and do better. My mother and father had no education. Never went to school. Never had the opportunity. Times were hard. My father, blessed memory, tells me that when he and his brother were young, they had some cows and they had to milk the cow. And so his mother decided, well, listen, this is how this thing gonna work. You're gonna get 2 weeks in school and 2 weeks off. We're gonna rotate. So his older brother James went to school for 2 weeks, and my father Irvin had to milk the cow for 2 weeks. Then my father went to school for 2 weeks. James had to stay home and milk the cow for 2 weeks. Take care of the animals. My father tell me, Lord, after 2 weeks out, when I went back, the class done move ahead, and I was still behind. Times were hard, people didn't have opportunity, but my mother and father insisted that the children that they brought into this world must get an education. You hear what I tell you? That their children must get an education. And every one of those 4 children has been to university and has been afforded that privilege of getting a degree. Because that's what they instilled in us. We must all seek to ensure that the next generation does better than we did. That is what we must ensure. That the next generation does better. And we need leadership and a politics that encourages that. That every little girl from Barnescott, every little boy from Jessop's, every youngster from Henley Park and Zion can grow up and aspire because we have instilled in them that they can be anything they want to be. Instead of that, we have some of them here, when a little boy from Rollins stand up and puts his hand up and say, see me here, I'm interested, to start the cuss him. They tell him, who you think you be? Your mother was barefoot and your father can't read. Well, so that means that little boy must be barefoot and can't read? That shouldn't be what our politics is about. Our politics should be about lifting him up and creating in him the ambition, the zeal, the zest, the vim, vigor, and vitality, where he says, I am limited only by the extent of my ambition. And that has been my view. Whoever wants to come to politics, I welcome them. But come for the right reasons. Come for the right reasons if you're genuinely interested in serving people, not about self-aggrandizement. Not about that. But you're genuinely interested in serving people, not because you're vexed, because things didn't go precisely as you wanted them to go, for you as an individual, but because you have a genuine desire to serve people. Not because you're fronting for whoever it is who wants power but can't get power politically, but because you have a genuine desire to serve people. And not because you want to run on any ticket that will allow you to run. That's how you get involved. No, it must be because you have a genuine desire to serve people. And so I am saying that our politics can be better. And I long for the day, even as I'm now gray of beard, long in tooth, I long for the day when we could have an opportunity in this country for reasoned and reasonable debate. Where what we are competing on is ideas. Where a man says, okay, you manage the COVID this way, I would have managed it that way, and my way is better because of this, and you have that debate. And you learn from each other, and you build each other, and you develop a society that we can be proud of. All this foolish roro, you got 3 old buffoon gone on radio go bash a young woman. For what? For what they put the two of them together and you can't get one? Buster Houdini and the fellow who with no name. You can't get one. Huh? So what is the point really? What is the point? All three together can't make one. And the contribution of all three comes out to naught. So what is their point? That they want to stunt a youngster. Give young people a chance. You say you're in favor of young people, give them a chance. Give them a chance. That is what the CCM is doing. Alright. Brings an end to my soliloquy for 2022. First show, 12th of January. I'm 53 years old as of yesterday, but I'm feeling 43. You know, I'm feeling, might be the vaccine, I don't know. But there's a tremendous level of vim, vigor, and vitality. And I'm saying to you that when the campaign starts, and it hasn't yet started, it's going to be an interesting campaign. One of ideas and a record of the concerned citizens movement that I think stands in comparison to any successful political party and leadership we have seen in the region. That is what we'll be running on. How we've managed this little island in the most difficult of circumstances and have yet had successes unheard of. That we would not say the sky is falling and push our head like the ostrich into the sand, but stood up for the people of Nevis. That is what we will be campaigning on. And the Big Blue Machine, oh Lord, I went to visit it on the weekend. They're just putting on now the final touches. When it rolls out of the garage, and nobody calling or asking where the garage is. You always see it when it rolls out. When it rolls out, it will be a sight to behold. I hear the NRP is seeking assistance in all kinds of places. I am to say to my brothers and sisters on St. Kitts, and if you all have money to waste, then give it to NRP. But if I were you, I would stay out of the politics of Nevis because you don't understand it. You don't understand it. And so that is my advice to you, because when the time comes, and it will come, I will lead a team and we will deal with the issues that confront us. And for anybody who is seeking to give succor, assistance to the opposition in Nevis, they will have to deal with us as well. And I'm saying it plainly because I saw it go. I saw it go. Nobody think that things done in the dark are not known to the light, because some of you talking in the dark and you don't know who you're talking to. Sometimes when the call comes, I don't want to talk to you on the phone, meet me, and we get the information. So, let us understand what is happening here, and let us ready ourselves for the battle ahead, for the hearts and minds of our people, but the battle ahead to serve the people of this beautiful island of Nevis. An island that I love and will give my life for. Nevis. And if Nevis means something to you, as it should, then it is worth fighting for. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 10 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. I'm going to open the lines now. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. I have no idea if anybody's even listening. I hope you are, and I hope you'll call. If you don't call, then I'll have to talk for the next 45, 50 minutes, and I'll have to do my best to soldier on. But I'm hopeful that you'll call. Send some greetings, New Year's greetings to everyone. Whatever it is you want to do, put an issue on the table, respond to anything that I've said, talk about COVID, talk about the situation in Nevis, whatever it is you want to say, this is your opportunity to say so. Good evening, you are our first caller for the year of our Lord 2022. How are you? Good
evening, my sheriff.
How are you?
I am good so far.
Good to hear your voice, and you're always first. You're first for 2022. What do you have first?
Psalm 5 verse 1, 2 and 3. Give ear unto my word, O Lord. Consider my meditation. Hearken unto the voice of my cry, my King and my God. For unto thee will I pray. My voice shall go here in the morning. O Lord, in the morning will I direct my prayer unto thee, and will not look up. Good night to culture.
Thank you very much.
Happy birthday is going out to Alfred Dida in New York City, coming from his loving sister Leonora. And belated birthday to my sheriff yesterday. And I hope you had a wonderful birthday. May God continue to bless all of us and have a good evening.
Thank you so much. And I send greetings to Mr. Dida as well, my good friend, and to all who might be listening this evening. And thank you for being our first call for 2022. Really do appreciate it, with a lovely scripture for us, as always, of your choosing. Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking your calls. For those who wish to be a part of our first show, you can only be first once, and this is the first show of 2022. You're welcome to call 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Honorable.
Good evening to you, my friend. How are you?
Great. Cheers to a new year and another chance for us to get it right. I repeat, cheers to a new year and another chance for us to get it right. Have a great evening.
Thank you so much. Again, thank you for your thought. Again, this is a caller who has been with us over the years, and a caller who always comes up with a thought of her choosing and shares it with us. And so thank you, caller, for that, and thank you for being part of the show and being part of the On The Mark family for all these years. Ladies and gentlemen, we continue to take your calls. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. While we wait for the phones to ring, okay, here we go. Good evening. You are our third caller for 2022. Hello? Hello? Caller, you're on the air. Hello? Okay, that caller doesn't want to talk to us. Callers? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're on the air. Listen to me.
Nice, good. To me and my cousin, Mr. Matt Brantley.
Yes.
I just want to say, all of them who on the one radio wall right now talking, all of them talking, they say you must hush. No, you hush. How come they calling to ask a question? But don't worry. When the noise right now, we know we're going with the noise. Cause I ready for them. Cause I just one who they went on radio for 3 days. They ain't get the support when they were looking. They bashed me the Monday. They bashed me the Tuesday. They bashed me the Wednesday. Up to the leader. And when they're done, they ain't had enough of me. They went on a whole talk show and they dragged me. But I'm praying and I'm hoping. I'm praying and I'm hoping for God to see me for this election, because I'm going to be all out, call out, fail out, and I don't want them coming in my face, eh? And I pick up with the same thing all the time. They like to bring down people. They like to abuse people every election. They talk about give foreigners this, give foreigners that. And when somebody, my mother from Zion, my mother is a Manners. Everybody know who me belongs to. Me bread and butter in sink it and leave it. Wherever you twist it and you turn it. But yet they drag me, make it look like I is an alien. I come off a ship. But me now study NRP is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 systems staying alive. They can't beat us. They got to join us. Have a good night. Love you. Bad.
I love you too, and thank you for that. And I think that, like you say, it seems to me that a lot of people use certain forums and they use those forums for attack. Maybe they feel more comfortable. This is an open forum. There's an open mic here. On the Mark has for the past decade and a half now almost been available. Pick up the phone and call. Let us debate. We don't encourage any cussing on this show. We encourage discussion. So let us discuss. But using the fake profiles and the nonsense that people engage in to cuss people and say the nastiest things about people, how does that help anybody? Really, how does it help anybody? And aligning and arraying your forces against people to bring them down, to crush them in the shell. Instead of allowing our people an opportunity, let us hear them. Let us hear what they have to offer. And you're right. It has been, and that's why I went back to myself. And I said that there's a line in a book that I need to write, which said that the rise of Mark Brantley political is as a result of the Nevis Reformation Party. Sounds odd, but it is. I recall in St. Vincent, Ralph Gonzalez once said that Arnhem Eustace, the leader of the opposition party at the time, was his best friend. His best political friend. So long as Arnhem is there, I'll figure he can't lose. And so long as his attitude and sentiment continue. If I was in NRP, you know what I would have done? Get rid of all the just, what you call them? Wara. Them old Wara grass you got around, you get rid of them. Clear them out. You hear me tell you? Clear them out. Them, they bring nothing. Just tell them, come election, I go and vote. But I not say nothing. Not say nothing. Just clear them out. I see one of the chief spokesperson for NRP on social media the other day, a young lady said to him, what happened to the money at CFBC? And he tell her, go look in your, I can't say it on Van Radio, because only the best will do on Van Radio. This is their chief spokesperson and former leader. Let me put that too. Because he had a stint about 10 days as leader when the other one had absconded and gone to Miami. Right? Former leader. And in response to a young person who said, what happened to CFBC money? He said, go look inside your bap, bap, bap. You understand? That is the level. And these are the ones who say that they have something to offer Nevis. My own advice to them, collect your social security and go sit down. Hush your mouth. Because what you all are bringing adds no value to the island. It doesn't help us. It doesn't help anybody. It is pure vitriol and a level of nastiness that frankly is undivision. I don't know where these things come from. Well, them boy, they went to America and thing and live up there. So I don't know where they bring it from. It is undivision. Not so we behave down here. But that has been the sentiment. And I don't care. I could bring new leader. I could bring young leader. I could bring old leader. I could bring people who never had a day in politics and never say hello to anybody in their life and now come say they want to lead Nevis. Bring who you want to bring. So long as these people are around you. Them all war grass, them bust up cane and bruise up mango. I got around you. Continue to cuss people and behave in this way. NRP gonna stay right where it is. Right where it is. Because it's like a disease that is running through the body of that party. They have to get nasty with people. Not one idea. Just cuss people. Say all manner of untruths about people. That's what they do. Well, I'm here to tell you that I lead a team. And we not back down. We will not back down. We will not give an inch. I have a seat here in St. John's. The good people have been good to me ever since I entered this race in 2007, except in the 2011 when I was robbed. And the court rectified that. I have been sailing with the people of St. John's and St. Paul's in the federal election. And I have a seat. I'm sitting in my seat. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to give it up. If you want it, you'll have to take it. And to take it, you have to go out there and give the people a plan, give people hope. Just keep going running around because you vexed you didn't get something. And the time will come to talk about all of those things. You're running around suddenly. And NRP, let me tell you, as a party, I continue to just shake my head. I see some of the commentators for NRP saying and making the most noise. And I say, but wait, them are the same people who used to be with me. The same people who used to cuss NRP, bring me all kind of ideas of how we're going to defeat NRP. Now NRP got them as their chief spokespeople. When I look at some of them announced candidates, I say, but wait, these are the people who are my principal advisors at CCM. And they are now candidates for NRP. Well, who they going to vote for election there? Let me go back to the phones and see if anybody's there. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello? Okay, you're not there anymore. 469-1616, 469-1700. Those are the numbers. Let's go to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Happy New Year.
Thank you so much.
All the best for the new year. And don't worry about anything. Don't talk about these people. Tell us what you're going to do for the country.
Yes.
Ignore them. Because I mean, you have to give a little noticement because it's the only noticement they're going to ever get in their life. But let's move on from them. And, you know, the big blue machine, you know, the tires are hard, the steering wheel working. And when we come out, we're going to roll right over them.
I like the sound of that. Hello? Okay, I want to thank that caller. The big blue machine is going to roll right over. And that is how we have done, and that is how we continue to do. So I'm not too fussed about that, you know. People have said to me, oh, you're concerned. No. When I hear of some of the backroom dealings that are going on, I just smile to myself because I'm not concerned. I have seen giants come up against the CCM to be concerned about pygmies. Giants have come. Goliath, has come. And we were able to deal with Goliath. So if now pygmies come, I'm not too concerned about them. I'm simply saying that all of us have a duty to lift the politics. To lift the politics. And if we're going to speak of individuals that speak truth and speak of their record, that's what I seek to do. I have no interest of who they with who and who doing what with who. That is not my business, and it shouldn't be yours either. Right? If you have a public record, you worked in an institution, what did you do while you were there? That is what is important. How have you demonstrated some preparedness for leadership? You ever own a little business? You're working? You ever create a job? Well, if you're 60 years old and you never created a job for anybody, how now you have a jobs plan for the young people of Nevis? How that work? You have not demonstrated in your life that you have the capacity to do it. So how now you have the plan to do it? Where did that plan come from? Was it given to you? If for the past 60 years you have not engaged in anything in the community, you have not sponsored a child in school, you have not given a little scholarship, you have not given the church a little thing for their Sunday service, you have not done any of that. At Easter at Harvest, you have not contributed anything. You have not sponsored any community group. You have a little sponsorship for Culture Arm, have a little basketball team, a netball team, cricket team, volleyball team. You have done nothing. But you now come and say, Nevis, me love you long time. But how did you demonstrate that love? If you're somebody who is an avowed atheist, you say there's no God. You don't believe in God. Well, how come now you declare yourself a candidate, you find yourself in church every Sunday? Taking picture like you're a celebrity. Close as you can come to the pulpit. Is a good thing. God is not like man. That is the point that I'm seeking to get at. We must look at people and their preparedness. What have they demonstrated in terms of their readiness to take this island to the next level? Politics is hard, you know. It's hard work. You really have to love people to be in this thing, or people will call your house at 3 and 4 in the morning because they have a problem. It is hard work. And too many people are coming to it because they're retired and it look like them figure, I mean, I got nothing better to do, so let me go do this. No, that's not what you need. You need an actual fire in your belly for people and for this. Not because you not got nothing better to do. Let's stick with the phones. Is anybody wanting to talk to us? Let's go to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Yes, good night.
Good night.
Brantley, belated birthday greetings to you.
Thank you so much.
And I'm wishing you and family a healthy and blessed 2022. Hope all is well with you.
All is well, and I wish you and your family the same.
Okay, I have not called in to your program for a while, but I thought I would do so tonight.
Yes.
Last night I was watching and listening to the opposition leader of the NRP on YouTube. And she was talking about all the roads that need fixing in Nevis, forgetting what's going on all over the world. And at the same time, one is saying too many roads are being worked on. As far as I can see, they are not singing from the same hymn sheet.
Mm-hmm.
They have all the answers, but God is good. While they are talking, you and your cabinet continue praying and working. May God bless you and keep you safe. Good night.
Thank you
All
so
the best
much.
to you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for the call.
All right.
I really appreciate it. And you have made a very important point. That is, you keep hearing these discordant notes. You wonder, I talked about being in the same church, in the same pew, singing from the same hymn sheet. It's important because here you have one of them is saying all these roads aren't doing. Then you have others who say CCM only doing roads, they need to stop doing roads and do other things. Well, which one we should listen to?
That's right.
Which one we should listen to?
Don't know.
But thank you, caller.
Okay.
Appreciate it. God bless you and your family.
Thank you very much.
All right. We have about half an hour left, so we're encouraging your calls. 869-469-1616, 869-469-1700. Let's go straight back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Good night. You can hear me?
I can hear you very well. Good evening.
It's your Miami friend.
How are you?
New Year's greetings to you. And if your birthday done gone, belated. And if you ain't gone yet, happy birthday.
It was yesterday, so thank you for the belated greetings.
And it's just so the guy now down here in the panic factory. They ain't seen nothing the government do. Okay, good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you for that. And, you know, I don't even know why people are seeking to behave sometimes in the manner in which they're behaving, because my view is that it is unhelpful, it doesn't add value, and at the end of the day, they have tried these same strategies and failed. Now, you talk about roads. And I heard the Deputy Premier make the point, and he made it quite eloquently. If there's a faction in the NRP that says that the CCM government is doing too many roads, then let them come out and say which road they would not have done. Because we did Brownhill Road, for example, roundly criticized by them. I remember their leader at the time went on radio and said, we're building walls over there, the height of Fort Knox, and all the wastage and all kind of things he had to say because he begrudged the people of Brownhill the road that was put there. But I moved to Brownhill as a boy of 9. I'm now a man of 53. And for all of those years and prior to me moving to Brownhill, that road was never touched. So, were we wrong to put a proper road into Brownhill? Were we wrong to put a road into Hanley's Road and Brazier's? Were we wrong to put a road into Shaw's Road? Were we wrong to do the Island Main Road from Cotton Ground to Cliff Dwellers? Were we wrong to do Craddock Road? Another road that was not touched for over 50 years. Are we wrong because we're going to do the road in Bath? Are we wrong because we're bringing relief to the people in Butlers? What really are they saying? And remember, as I keep emphasizing, that whenever we do a road here on this island of Nevis, we do it by divisions. Division truckers, heavy equipment operators, tradesmen, engineers. When the NRP was there, all the roads were being done by a foreign company. And no less a man than their leader at the time said to divisions, you are not capable to do the work. That is why we had to go with foreigners. Let us remember these things. So when that criticism comes, I don't understand the criticism. Look at big America. We like to pattern everything. Everything happening in America, we say should happen down here. We look at big America. What is Biden's plan to get America out of recession and to build back better after COVID? He has asked the Congress to give him how much $1 trillion to do what? Spend on infrastructure. He wants to do roads, bridges. Well, in Nevis, we are doing roads as part and parcel of the reconstruction effort, as part and parcel of the injecting money into the local economy. It is part of the economic plan. So what is the criticism really? All fraught and no Marby. That's what we're dealing with. If anybody wants to talk to me, we have half an hour left. 869-469. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Hello.
Hello, my brother. Happy New Year.
Good evening to you. Happy New Year and happy belated birthday. Brother Mark. Hello, you there?
Yes, I'm here, brother. I'm listening
you know what I would like? When those people are naming the hurricane, they could name one Buster. Like your dog. Go on bad on the sea. And when you reach close to the land, you go back out on the sea. You don't come in and bite and mash us up. Just like how you say Buster used to run under your house, friend. When you lose him.
When you lose him, you know, when he tie his son, bad enough. When you lose him, boy, the lappy tail between the leg and he run under the house fast.
Well, you know what that tell me now? That you really come up a poor boy. Because your mother and your father house was a nag. If it was a concrete house, Buster would not have got a house to run under. Brother Mark, the new year started and the new year ended with those opposition, both over Nevis and down here. But I think down here the worst. I got some people, their motive every day is to just get on the Panic Factory radio station and abuse and cuss. They go so low to tell people who got this foot and that foot and who got rally and all kind of thing. I mean, when they're gonna lift up, when they're gonna elevate, it's time to move on and done with this nigger thing. But you see what happened to them, brother Mark? Who say what they call it there? Again the word Lord. Anyway, all loves when I have so sorry about that. Because who leading them? He leading them a path of destruction. And then on the other hand, as soon as he out of the sight, he gonna talk different to where he tell them to lead them down destruction. With this COVID thing here that come up, he give them the impression that he ain't taking none. And he described the COVID, the vaccination as all kind of derogative things in it. He said one, the vaccination having water. So they swallow that, line, hook and sinker. But then he went somewhere where nobody know him go take it one. Take it one and then he come back. And up to now here say he take it. Last parliament you all had there down here, federal parliament, India. Everybody has touched on the vaccination and the COVID, except he. Because he didn't want to say any good or show it to people and encourage them to take it. Because of the impression that he done give long ago that he ain't take none. So he don't want to give them no impression of, oh, well, how he tell us don't take it and he got any, they could talk so nice about it. So you see, there are people out there easy to fool. Don't mind them people over there is talking nonsense about CCMA and do nothing. Like one lady said, all they used to talk about the other day on the show, oh, all CCM doing is talking about road and talking about road. Remember when I come in and say, well, if you're going to build houses, you must put road. And the lady said tonight, now they're saying this place one road and that place one road. That's politicians when they're in opposition. But like you say, not because you're in opposition. Talk what you would like you to do when you get in office. Don't see good going on and call it bad. Because if you go down the P and the same man go jump over here and say, man, go over there and cry in our back to see him. No, you're gonna dissuade him from going over there.
Well, you should.
Yeah, definitely yes. But you see, I don't understand, but I just don't understand. That's why you see, I will support any government that is doing good. As long as you're doing good and I hear them termite, stupid termite coming and trying to mash up, I'm going to deal with them. I am going to deal with them. Well, there was a thieving competition at the CFBC institution. There was a thieving competition at the CFBC institution. One the thief from Gingerland in Nevis, and the other from Frigate Bay in St. Kitts. Mark?
Hey.
I will out, you know.
Buy your bus again?
No, a truck. Well,
I love it.
Here we go back. It was a thieving competition at the CFBC institution. It was a thieving competition at the CFBC institution. One the thief from Gingerland in Nevis and the other from Frigate Bay in St. Kitts. While the Nevis thief was thieving daily, the Sinkers thief was thieving monthly, and you hear them back to back, belly to belly. We don't care what them say. We don't thief the money. Back to back was a big box of money that we thief from the treasury. That come out of the truck now, not the bus.
All right, my brother.
Okay.
Take care. God bless you.
Good night, my friend Miss Daly from Honeyman and Doyon Loybud.
All right, brother.
Yeah, you all have a good night.
Take good care. All right.
Okay, thank you.
And I've just been sent you a message to send belated birthday greetings to Josiah Meade. He celebrated yesterday, just like me. Little Josiah, the grandson of my love, Pretty, in church ground, and the son, of course, of Shayna and Sylvester Meade. So, happy birthday, Josiah, belated. You're probably in bed already, but I hope that you get this, and that's coming from Grandma and the entire family circle. We have about 25 minutes left. We're taking your calls. Let's go straight back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark.
Hello, good evening. Happy New Year and happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you so much, and Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you. So, what I want you to do is just to ignore the noise, keep the momentum, and keep Nevis running. We know you can do it, and you know you can do it. And by God's help and the help of the others in government, you and them, you all are going to do it. Have a pleasant night, and greetings from New York.
Well, I recognize this voice, and thank you so much, and thank you for the beautiful call for my birthday. I appreciate it, and take care, and all the very best. Keep doing good.
I will. Thank you.
All right, and tell everybody I say good night,
Okay,
please.
good night.
Okay. Thank you very much. We're getting calls from all over, and we're taking your calls. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. This is our first show of 2022. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. You're on the mark. Hello?
Hello, Mr. Brantley. What's up?
I'm well, thank you.
Man, this is your partner from the airport, man. The red cap man with the kind of bags of kind. Guy.
How you doing?
Boy, yeah, man. What happening otherwise?
We're good, we're good. We're just here having our first show for the year. Happy New Year to you.
Man, Happy New Year, and I want to say happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
You know, I know, I heard that a thing there, and I said, let me call in tonight to ask you if you maybe got any information on that, about something. I've been hearing a lot of things, and yeah, I mean, a lot of things being spin around, spin. You know, in a lot of these things, you got a lot of spin bowlers and so on. They were talking about this stuff with Lindsey Grant with the situation and so on. I heard some video. I heard this, I heard that. But I'm calling to find out if you have any information on that. I mean, you the guy come at the airport and you always look out for me. You make sure that I'm okay. You make sure you say, take me back. Even if it's one bag, you tell me go with
it. Yes.
You know, and I really respect that to see that, you know what I mean, you're really looking out for the small man, and I appreciate it, man. And I want to wish you all the best. I want to wish you good health. I want to wish you a long life. But if you could just give us all any information on that to clear up the airways, I really would appreciate it. Mark, have a nice one. All the best.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. I just want to take an opportunity, I neglected to do so, to send some greetings to Miss Ferguson. They would have lost their son, Fergie. If you're listening, I want to extend condolences to you. Of course, I was unable to attend the funeral service here, and I did send apologies. But certainly, you have been in my thoughts and prayers, and I wanted to publicly extend my condolences to you and the family. This young man called in. He asked whether or not I have any information about this issue with my colleague Lindsey Grant, and the short answer is no. I do not have any information. I have seen some videos that have circulated. I have seen a lot of commentary, but I like to find out things for myself and do my own research and discussion before I say anything publicly on matters. And I know that sometimes when we're in public life, things are put out, and spin is put out there to create an impression one way or the other. And so for me, I like when I talk from a position of knowledge. In the past, I have made the mistake of talking without the benefit of the information, and sometimes I have to come back and apologize. And so with age, you learn to be patient and to acquire information before you comment publicly. So caller, I don't have any information on that alleged incident. I am not aware of anything other than what has been put out there on social media, and so it is my hope that in the fullness of time that matter will be fully ventilated, all sides will be known, so that the necessary decisions can be taken. I will say, however, and I want to make this clear, that there is, for me, and always for me, the support of our men and women in uniform. Those who know me know from the minute I came into public life, and even before, because I recall many years before politics, I had spearheaded an effort to buy 2 new RAV4 vehicles for the police in Nevis. And I have cherished those types of engagements because I believe that police don't always get it right. We are all humans, and so none of us will get it right all the time. But I always support the police because they are always out there. When you and I are asleep in our beds, they are out there trying to keep our island and our country safe. And so, the incident aside, I want to make that very clear, that the police and the security forces have my fullest support. And that is not to mean that they must abuse their power or abuse their authority. But as a principle, they have my support, and I believe they have the fullest support of the cabinet and all right-thinking members of our community. And I so want to make that very clear. On the specifics, I have no comment on that because I simply do not have the information. But caller, thank you for your well wishes, and I look forward to seeing you if the occasion arises again that I have to travel. Let me go back to the phones and take some more calls. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Mr. Brantley.
Good evening to you.
And I understand you had a wonderful birthday, man.
Yes, I did indeed. It was spent with loved ones, quiet, but, you know, at my age now, I prefer it that way.
What age you talking about? You're 53, man. That's still a small boy. I always remember meeting you at Caribbean Cove years ago, little boy. I mean, shortly out of your diapers at the time. Man, you just come back from law school and that kind of thing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Handsome young man and thing, looking a lot of woman and that kind of
thing. No, man, never.
No?
No, never.
Oh, Lord.
You get the thing mixed up. I believe the girls used to look mean, not the other way around.
Oh, I see. I wonder if your wife will look good. Anyhow,
yes.
You know, New Year's address, man, it was a fantastic address. I loved it. I only heard it once, but I would love to have heard it more than once. And it had some figurative parts in it that I rather enjoyed. Like the sands flowing rapidly through the hourglass of 2021.
Yes.
I thought that was beautiful, man.
Yes.
Very colorful language. Typical of you, actually. The other thing, talking about the opposition. Some weeks ago, I probably mixed up my Tuesday night and my Wednesday night, and I flicked to Vaughan, and there were 2 ladies on Vaughan speaking, and obviously NRP ladies, and they were talking about all the things that are going on, and when they formed the government, I don't know if they plan to be candidates or whatever, but they say what is missing in Nevis is capital projects, and when they form the government, they're going to be having all these capital projects and that kind of thing. They didn't mention about the cost of these capital projects, nor did they make any mention at all about what these capital projects were. They just like you keep on talking about capital projects. Never once did they say, okay, we're going to fix roads, we're going to build this, we're going to build that, or anything like that. Nothing specific. Just broad statements. And which I thought to myself, these people can't be serious.
But caller, we have done and continue to do capital projects. Roads are capital projects. They say don't do roads. So you mustn't build roads. Well, what capital projects are they going to do?
Well, but they didn't say. They just said they're doing capital projects, but nothing specific, nothing at all. They didn't even say they're going to build a foul house. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
They just said capital projects, and that was the whole talk for the night about all these. There's nothing going on in Nevis. They have to build capital projects. Which I thought to myself, man, this is fraudulent, man. This is just fooling people. Like people don't know what capital projects are. And you just can't lead people down a dead-end road like that without giving some specifics, man. Give some direction as to where you're going. I was very, very disappointed in the two ladies that I was speaking. But continue. I enjoyed this program tonight.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for your call, and Happy New Year, and thanks for all the support all over the years. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, man.
Okay, we have 14 minutes left. This is the first show of 2022, so if you want to be a part of it and a part of history, then this is your opportunity to call. 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening. Good evening, you're on the mark. Good evening, go ahead. Hello?
Hello?
Caller? Okay, we've lost that caller. Caller, please call back. Again, the number is 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. Those are the numbers to call. I don't know what happened there, but if you can try to get back in, we would appreciate the call. And for those out there, let's try again then. Good evening, you're on the mark.
Good evening, Mark Brantley.
Good evening to you.
Alfred, did it?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
We almost share the same birthday.
Which day is yours? Today?
Today's my birthday, yeah.
Okay,
today.
happy birthday, man. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, and same to you, man. And Happy New Year.
Thank you, and Happy New Year to you also. How are things in the States?
Okay, thanks.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay. All right, so we are taking your calls, 869-469-1616 and 869-469-1700. And it, I believe, has been a pretty good show. We have another 12 minutes, so it can even get better. So if you want to call, this is your opportunity to do so. Just to go back to remind callers and remind the general public that the Health Promotion Unit here is having a drive for vaccination for our young people, and they have some fantastic prizes. Please reach out and check the media sources for information. I know they have iPhones, iPhone 13, they have AirPods, they have what they call it, Xbox. I'm not even sure what the language is, but the video games, and they are really offering some fantastic prizes just as an incentive to get our young people excited about it. And if you refer people, you can enter, and if you get the vaccination, I'm told you can enter, and you have the chance to win up to a 40-inch LED flat screen. So some fantastic prizes. We encourage people to take advantage. Let's go back to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello? Hello? Caller, you there? Okay, this caller isn't talking to us either. We have about 10 minutes left. Callers, please, when you call in, listen to the telephone. Many people are listening to their computer, and there's always a bit of a time lag, a delay. So we will not be able to communicate effectively. So listen to the phone, not to your computer or device. And I think that way we'll be able to hear each other and to communicate. We have just about 10 minutes, so we're going to take calls. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Good night, everybody. Good night.
You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Mark, first I want to wish you a belated happy birthday. And I want to wish you a belated happy new year. You and your cabinet are doing it all the time on different ways you talk show. So
thank you, brother, and the same is wish to you. The same is wish to you. Happy New Year.
Yes. Brother Mark, I listened to your opening statement, and you're always so passionate about what you say and what you're going to do for the people of Nevis. Now, you're right. Coming together, especially under this serious pandemic, we're destroying the whole world. And can't you, the same thing happening down here to the opposition. Trying to make this COVID thing a political issue, when it's not a political issue. It ain't the same issue. It ain't NRP issue. It ain't PLP issue. It ain't PAM issue. It's the whole this federation issue. Because COVID going to come and destroy who supporting CCM, or who supporting PAM, or who supporting PLP. COVID coming and destroying everyone. So when they don't put politics in COVID and saying all kind of negative, Brother Mark, but I really, it really grove me heart to see our people trying to bring down the doctors, the nurses, the health department, and everything because of politics. Nothing good. But if they're negative, they're going to make it better. It's serious. And it's very hurting to listen to some of them talking about some of our people who get affected by COVID, some people in quarantine, some people who in isolation, and all those things. Oh, the vaccine is not what the vaccine is, the vaccine is that, the vaccine is already vaccine, you know. Listen, me now, who want to take the vaccine, take it, Mark. I always say so. I ain't going to force nobody to take the vaccine. But when you listen to the expert them out there who create this vaccine, they create the same tablet them where we take. They create the same injection where we take when we sick. They create the same medicine when we sick. We take the same vitamin them when we take. It's the same expert who do all of that. But no, it's little trinkets. And because the government is trying the endeavor best to do a good job, they're trying to bring down and say all kind of negative thing. But Mark, I don't think they're going to prevail. I believe you have this COVID, we're going to ride out this time. Look at the tourism industry. Open up. Taxi man can make a little dollar now. Vendors can make a little dollar. Here brothers can make a little dollar. The stores can make a little money now. So let me thank God, man, and stop the negative going on the negative word all the time. If the government gets if the party get in there tomorrow, it's them responsibility it's going to be. Just let you all know and try and do endeavor best to protect the people from harm and danger. But I'm after a blessed night. May God bless you and keep you.
All right. Thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate the sentiment. You're always very passionate, and thank you for being part of our first show for 2022. You make one point which I think I want to pick up on, and that one point really has to do with the criticism. Because here in Nevis as well, I've listened to the NRP, and some I think who ought to know better. I hear them talking about epidemiologists and all kind of names that I could barely pronounce, and criticizing the task force, criticizing the people on the task force. They don't know what they're doing. And I listen and I say, well, how, if COVID is new to all of us and the pandemic is new to all of us, we haven't seen a global pandemic in 100 years, how come NRP have so much expertise? And if they have all this expertise, why have they not offered their assistance to the task force in the interest of the country? Why is it all they can do is sit down and criticize? CMO don't know what she's doing, this don't know what they're doing, they don't know what they're doing. But you have nothing that you could offer. Well, if they don't know what they're doing, volunteer. Say, here I am. Send me, Lord, because I know I have the answers. And so the point you're making, Carl, is a valid point. I have seen, and as long as I have breath, and until the Lord tells me, Mark Brantley, it is time for you to go, I will always give praise to CMO Laws, Abdius Samuel, Cameron Wilkerson and their team, and in Nevis, Dr. Nisbet, Brian Dye and the entire team, Paulette Bartlett, all of them, they have worked hard. They have gone above and beyond the call of duty. When many of us, listen to tell you, nurses, doctors, I spoke to a young doctor here in Nevis the other day, and she told me she had worked a long shift, but she was over at Long Point in the morning to volunteer. Volunteer, you hear the word I'm using, that means no pay. Volunteer at the testing site. We look at the nurses, them, my good friend there, Mintos, so many of them who have given and given and given and given and continue to give, and only to be met with criticism. Nobody spares a chance to say, well, these are people too, humans too. They get sick, they get headache, they got families too. They're out all day and night. I see them turn on and Abdius cuss Abdius, say all kind of thing about Abdius. In my dealings with him, he has always tried to help. And I will always, as I said until I go to my grave, say that when the country was in crisis, certain people stood up. And Judy Nisbet stood up. Abdia stood up. CMO stood up. Certain people stood up. And we owe them a debt of gratitude rather than constantly dragging them and trying to belittle them. We must always say that when the difficult times came, some people stood up, didn't run away. It's not to say they didn't make mistakes. All of us made mistakes. But if they made a mistake today, they came back tomorrow and they were back on the job again. Long hours into the night. While others can only offer criticism and curse and say how they don't know what they're doing. But you yourself have never lifted a finger to help. You've never gone out once and said, task force, I have some skills. I know about epidemiology, so let me come and help you. No! You go on radio and you cuss them, tell them they chup it and don't know what they're doing. So we got to, separate the wheat from the chaff. The fraud from the marby. That is not the way to go. We have a few minutes left. We have anybody holding? Let's try this caller. Caller, you're on the mark. Caller is gone. Caller, if you can call back in, you can get a couple of minutes. 869-469-1616. Let's go to the phones. Good evening, you're on the mark. Hello?
Hello, a pleasant good evening to you, Mark.
Good evening to you.
A happy New Year.
Same to you. Happy New Year to you and your family.
And a happy belated birthday.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
All right.
Way down here in Simply, they have a lot of you do you call them? And Buster down here too. Man and woman. And let me tell you something. I think you won't have to get a name for the lady too, because every time she gets on the panel, she ain't see what you're doing. When she ain't talk about the road they want to fix, when you start to fix them, she says that, Lord, you don't do road, and all sorts and all kind of things. And she says, she a doctor. We will like to know what doctor she be. If he's an animal doctor, or human doctor. Because if she is an animal doctor, if she have to go on like how she going on, and what's not, because it's an animal she's sending to. So, you find some good name, and you have to get one for she too, because she is a criticism doctor. And a lot of you doing here now, Buster down here, man and no man down here, you want to know which part they come from. If they was here all the time, or they just come in. Mark, you have a blessed night.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for that. And you heard you say the criticism, doctor? Quite interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, we have perhaps time for one more quick call, if there's somebody holding. If not, then we are approaching the hour of 10 o'clock. And at 10 o'clock is when, of course, we bring the show to an end. I would therefore want to wrap up by inviting members of the public to participate in the vaccination drive that we have, for us to continue to be vigilant, bearing in mind that COVID is here with us and it continues to be a clear and present danger to our lives and livelihoods. To thank all the people out there, particularly the young people who have been going out and seizing the opportunities and the jobs that are once again available on the island of Nevis, and to encourage those who are not working to continue to seek out work. There's work available, whether it's in construction, the restaurant business, the hotel business, there's work available. And so we're asking you to go out and to partake and make the effort. Get up, go out, because if you sit at home and grumble, that is not going to help you. We are here as a government to do the very best we can. This year or next, we will have an election. And when that election comes, we will come to you with our record, and we'll come to you to ask you to support all 5 candidates for the Concerned Citizens Movement. Thank you for your time tonight. Thank you for allowing me into your homes. Thank you for being a part of this show. For those who called, we only do the first show once each year, and this show was historic for that reason. Thank you for being a part of it, and thank you for being a part of On The Mark family for all of these years. We look forward to continuing to engage with you. Thank you, good night, and God bless. And remember that this show is rebroadcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. My final word, go out and get vaccinated Protect yourself and your family. Good night, and God bless you.